To look at the path menu. So I have, for the first thing in the path menu is object to path. So normally when you have an object, something like if you draw a rectangle, if you use these objects here, like the rectangle, the circle, the star, when you draw them, they are more or less like fixed objects, so they are not into path. What do I mean by that? If you try to edit them, you see that there are some holes here, or some circles, small circles or holes, and then you can just touch some of them, but you see how it manipulates it. You cannot actually deform it. Well, it will be in this form or so. If you want to really deform or change the object that you've drawn, it's the only way is to change it to a path, and to do that is to go here. First of all, you have to select the object, and then the selecting tool, and then you go to a path, and then you change the object to path. Now when you come with a selection tool and you want to do something, you see you can change it in a more different way than when it is just an object without it having a path. Now if let's look at the next one in it. The next thing is stroke to path. If you are new in Inkscape, the stroke is the boundary of the object that you have. So in case you don't want to, this I converted everything to path, but so I can manipulate everything. But in case you just want to manipulate the stroke or the boundary, then you use this. It's called the stroke. First of all, I would want to fill this so that you see what I mean, because this object here, the fill is white, so I would want to, let's fill it. Yes, and then so that when we do something with it, it will be clearer when we now use the other thing, stroke to path. So now I'm going to select this and then go to path, stroke to path. Now I go and select my this, and let's see, I want to edit the yes, I have to select it. Now let's see what happens. Let's see here. You see, I'm only manipulating the boundary or the stroke. You saw the difference. This was different from that. Okay, now let's go to the next thing. The next thing is trace bitmap. I have a whole tutorial on how to trace bitmaps, but I'll show quickly here how to trace a bitmap quickly. Imagine I have this photo here and I want to trace it. I just select the photo, and then after selecting it, I go to my trace bitmap, and then this thing pops up, and then I go to, there are several options. I want to use the edge detection. So if you use the edge detection, you just do updates. I tried already, and you see you will have this here. If you finish, you think you like what you had, you just go to OK, and then it's lying on it, so you have to just move it. See, now the whatever I wanted to trace came nicely. So that's how that is used. I've treated this into details in another video of mine, which is called how to use the bitmap, so you can look at it. Now the next thing we want to look at in the path menu is union. So union, when you have two or more objects you want to, you can use the union on them. Let's see how it works. So first of all, you have to select the two objects or to which you want to form the union with. You go to Shift and then you select them. So now the two are selected, and then I go to Path and I say Union. You see what's happened? It was similar to this, but you united it, and now this is what we have. So it removes this thing here. Now the next thing we want to look at is first let's look at is difference. So how does the difference look like? Now the same thing, we select with Shift and then we select the two objects that it's selected all there, so we want to select only these two. So Shift and this and Shift and that. Now we go to Path and go to Difference. You see the difference, it's like it removes this whole thing and leaves this. Now the next thing we want to look at is the intersection. So intersection, in the same way, we select our objects, go to Shift, and then we select left mouse click, Shift, left mouse click, and then we go to Path and then we go to intersection. So in the intersection, what it does is that it gives us, if you the figure was like this initially, so it gave us only the intersection here. Okay, now the next thing we want to look at is the exclusion. So let's look at what is the exclusion here. The exclusion normally is the inverse of the intersection, but let's see what happens there. So we still Shift, with Shift and select our objects, and then we go to exclusion. See, it's excluded the intersection. Now the next thing we want to look at is, let's see, we have the path. We want to look at division. So division is still select our objects, and then we go to path and then we go to division, and this is how division works. Okay, the image was like this, and then now the next one we are on is cut path. So let's see how this cut path works. So we as usual, we select our objects, the two objects, and then we go to path and then we do cut path. So it cuts the path and we are left with this. This was the original figure here. Okay, now the next figure we want to look at is the combine. So it's going to combine the two things. Let's see how it looks like. So as usual, we select both and then we go to path and then we do combine, and then look at the difference. And the combine is different from the union, because the union, it removed this part. This just combined the two, like this and this together. Now the next thing we want to look at is the break apart. If you remember that we did the combine, so we've combined this these two objects. Now we want to break them apart. You see that they are combined, because if I select only this, or only the rectangle, it will also select the circle. So they are combined. I can move them. They are combined and you move them together. Now we want to break them apart. So you just select it and go to break apart, and now they are broken apart. So if I go on and now want to select only the rectangle, I can select the rectangle and move it. It broke it apart. The next tool we want to look at in the path function or the path menu is the insert. This inserts a selected paths. So first of all, we have this rectangle here. I duplicate it. Go to file, edit, duplicate. So I have a duplicate. Maybe I modify what is on it, change it a bit. So now I have the one line on the stroke is red. The previous one, the stroke was blue, I think. Now let's look at how to use this. Now let's look at how to use the insert tool. I press insert, and you see it's inserted this rectangle into the other one. We can press insert again for us to see how it is. We go to path, insert, it increases, pushes it even in further. Now if we the next one is outset. So the insert inserts the selected paths, and outset outsets the selected path. So let's see. You see it reduces it. Now the next thing we have is dynamic offset. With the dynamic offset, if you press it, you get a small hole here that you can manipulate it. You can either make it inset, or you can move it to make it outset, depending on what you want. So it's the combination of the two. And then you have a manual control over it. You can just go there. It gives you a small dot or hole here that you can use with the node tool, and then just move it to get to what you want. Either you want the inset or outset. Now the next thing we want to look at is the linked offset. For us to do that, let's draw a rectangle. Now we go to path, linked offset. Now we have this small hole here, or this circle here. We increase it like this and we select the middle part, but if I move it, the top part also moves. Whatever I do to this one affects the other. So that is the linked offset. Now the next tool we want to use in the path menu or path function is the simplify. So we draw something with this pencil here. Let's try to draw something like a circle. Whatever you draw with this is not considered as an object. It looks at this as a path. So now if you want to see the nodes of the path, you go to the node tool, and you see the small circles in the thing there. Now I don't know whether it's visible. If it's not visible, I make it a bit visible for you. Okay. I did. Okay, so if you see this, so now we go to path, and then we go to simplify. Now you see that it reduced some of the nodes here, and it makes it a bit smoother, I think, also when you reduce the number of nodes, and also you don't have a lot of nodes to manipulate. It depends on what you want, you know. If you have you want to have many nodes, then you don't use it. If you want to just reduce the number of nodes to make it simple, you use that. Okay, the next thing we want to do is reverse. So just reverses what you've done. Now the next tool we want to use is the path effect. So if you click it, you get this here, and then you go to plus. If you go to plus, you have this, and you can choose whatever you want. You can either choose this. Let's look at this. See, whatever you choose, it will have an effect on it. Okay, the next tool that we want to look at is the paste path effect. So first of all, let's give this let's go again and give this some effect. So we go here and choose this, so it has this effect. The first thing we have to do is to copy this, and then when we draw another object here, and then with the object selected, or you go to path, and then you go to paste path effect. You see, it mimic this effect here. And the last thing we have to look is remove path effect. So just removed it. Thank you for watching. Please help me by subscribing to my channel. Thank you. Bye.